am still not sure, even as I tell this story. It feels as if what I lived through might begin again the moment I speak about it. But I am sharing it so that people can be cautious, even when trusting those closest to them. Everything began on my 16th birthday. My family was wealthy. My father and his close friend Paul had built a company together and grown it over the years. From the outside, they looked like two brothers in perfect harmony. The truth was very different. My father was a calm man. He liked money, but he had limits. His friend, however, was ambitious. He loved power. He loved control. And he could never tolerate that my father was respected more than him in every way. This jealousy was never openly displayed. It lived in long stares, unfinished sentences, and behind closed doors. I did not understand it as a child. I only noticed one thing. When he looked at us, there was always anger in his eyes, as if he were waiting for something to happen. At first, you do not clearly recognize this kind of thing. My mother did not like him. She often told my father, but my father usually stayed silent. I remember one day, when he was visiting, I overheard my mother whisper to my father, "The way he looks at me and Brielle does not feel normal." My father did not respond at the time. I did not fully understand what those words meant. As my 16th birthday approached, I felt a strange unease inside me. There was no clear reason. My dreams were disturbed. I constantly felt as if something was about to happen. My father wanted a simple celebration. My mother did too. But Paul insisted that everyone should come, saying this age was important and that he would take care of everything, even though my father did not want to. He agreed. On the night of my birthday, the house was full. People from the company, family, friends, faces I did not recognize. My mother was tense. My father was quiet. Paul, on the other hand, was more relaxed than ever. He brought the cake. It was huge and extravagant. My name was written on it. The candles were lit. Everyone sang. At that moment, I looked at my father's face. He was not smiling. It was as if he sensed something but could not say it. I blew out the candles. Paul cut the cake with me. He handed out the first slices to the guests. Everyone ate. Then he carefully prepared the last slices and gave them to my mother and father. He placed a slice on my plate as well. I took one bite. The moment it entered my mouth, my stomach turned. There was nothing wrong with the taste, but I had a feeling inside me saying, "Do not eat it." I did not swallow. I placed it into a napkin. Paul noticed. His expression changed. In that moment, I saw suppressed anger on his face. The night ended without incident. But something in our house began to change. As days passed, my parents changed. First, their sleep was disturbed. Then whispering began between them. Doors were constantly closed in the house. My father stopped going to work. My mother slept all the time. As months passed, the house became unrecognizable. What was once peaceful now felt suffocating. When I walked inside, I felt as if I could not breathe. My mother cried often. My father was irritable. At night, sounds came from their room. Not arguments, but something like a lament. During this time, Paul began visiting the house frequently, but his gaze was no longer the same. He looked satisfied, as if what he had been waiting for was slowly happening. And then that night came. I woke up near midnight to a loud noise. There was silence, but a strange kind of silence. I ran out of my room into the living room. The door to my parents' bedroom was open. When I went inside, I found them both hanging, having taken their own lives. I will not describe the details. I cannot, but I can say this. It was not a sudden decision. It was a planned despair. The police came. Everyone came. Everyone asked why. I could not answer. I was still a child and knew nothing. I only cried constantly. But when Paul arrived, as he hugged me, he whispered in my ear, "Everything will be better now." I did not understand then. I thought he was trying to comfort me. But now I understand that whatever happened began after that birthday. When my parents died, I was only 16 years old, so my share in the company did not fully pass to me. Everything legally went under Paul's control. The lawyers said it was temporary. "We'll review it again once you come of age." But the relief on Paul's face made it clear this was not temporary. A few weeks after the funeral, he removed me from that house. "That place isn't good for you," he said. "You need a fresh start." I was moved outside the city to a place where no one knew me, a location so obscure it barely even had a name on maps. The house was large, quiet, too quiet. There was no echo inside. It was as if the walls absorbed sound. A middle-aged caregiver was hired to stay with me. The house, school, doctor appointments, all of it was under Paul's control. At first, I thought this was for my own good. Then, things began. I started waking up at night. I never knew what time it was, but every time the feeling was the same. Someone was waking me. I heard footsteps inside the house, moving around, as if something knew the layout of the house by heart. When I looked in the mirror, my face didn't feel like it belonged to me anymore. I was getting weaker day by day, but it wasn't from hunger. Something was being pulled out of me. Doctors said, "There's nothing physically wrong." The caregiver prepared meals at the same hours every day. Same taste, same portions. Paul was very particular about this. "Watch what you eat," he would say. "Your health is important." But I had a feeling what I was eating wasn't healing me. It was draining me. Months passed like this. One day, I couldn't take it anymore. Without telling the caregiver anything, I left the house and went to the cemetery. Every time I visited my parents' graves, something inside me broke, but that day was different. The sky was overcast. There was no wind, yet the trees rustled. There was no one else in the cemetery. I knelt by their graves. I wanted to speak, but the words wouldn't come out. I stood up and started to walk back. I had taken only a few steps when I heard a voice behind me. It was clear, not muffled, not the wind. It said my name. I froze. It sounded like my mother, but it was wrong, much too deep. It was coming from the ground, slowly. I turned around. I looked toward my parents' graves, and I saw it. Between the gravestones, something dark was rising. It was human-sized, but it didn't stand like a human. Its face was indistinct, as if there was emptiness where a face should be. Something black was leaking from its eye sockets. Its mouth opened this time. It spoke in my father's voice. "Don't go." My legs locked. I wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The entity took a step forward. The ground collapsed beneath its foot. That's when I realized this wasn't my mother or my father. This was something using their voices. I staggered backward and ran. I didn't look back. I forgot how to breathe until I got out of the cemetery. After that day, the sounds in the house increased. When I woke up at night, I felt someone standing beside my bed. When I looked at the caregiver, her eyes sometimes seemed focused on something that didn't belong to me. That was when my aunt arrived. She had come from Italy. She said she kept seeing my mother in her dreams. My mother was crying and saying only my name. Several times she had wanted to visit, but Paul had always refused, giving excuses. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore and decided to come. She brought a woman with her. "My friend," she said. But the moment the woman stepped inside the house, she stopped. She took a deep breath. "There is something here," she whispered. Paul stiffened when he saw them. He stared at the woman for a long time. "Brielle is very tired," he said. "Keep the visit short." The woman walked through the house. She examined the walls, the door thresholds, the kitchen. She touched the food the caregiver had prepared. Then she looked at me. "If this child stays here, she will lose her mind," she said. "She is being deliberately fed something every day." Paul laughed. The woman continued calmly. "Dark magic. It doesn't kill quickly. It breaks the mind. Because this child didn't eat the cake," she said. "Now the remaining bond is being formed slowly." Paul tried to deny it at first, but when the woman knew about the cake, he realized she wasn't an ordinary person and didn't resist. He only said, "If I hadn't done this, everything would have fallen apart." That day, they took me out of that house. My aunt took over guardianship. It was a difficult process, but eventually an agreement was made. I would claim no rights to the company, the money, or the inheritance in return. My aunt would become my legal guardian, and I would survive. Paul is still in charge of the company, still rich, still powerful. But I know what I lived through, and what I saw was not imagination. And some nights, I still hear my name whispered in strange voices. "Brielle, come to me." Thank you for listening to this story until the very end. If this video affected you, don't forget to support the channel by liking it. For more dark and realistic stories like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next story.